Hello everyone, thank you for coming to our BeSavvy Simulator showcase today. We hope to make this a very exciting event full of different ideas, different tools, and something that can inspire you to build your own simulations and integrate them into your processes. So please, if you have any questions during the showcase, write them in charts and I will move to our first simulation right away. This is the business development simulation, which will show how we turn conversations into opportunities. So our new generation of simulations, they are all situated on maps, meaning that every task, every element of the simulation is connected to a character or an element sitting on the map. This can be your colleagues talking to each other. This can be potential clients waiting for you to pitch to them. And that this can be your partners waiting for you to send the follow-up email to the client that you have just pitched to. So today we will dive deep into all kinds of simulations. And we'll start with this one. So you can see the partner is asking you to come by in order to give you some kind of a task. And James' partner wants us to meet Chris, who is sitting here in the during this business development event. He is bored and he wants us to come by to him and pitch to him our services. So we learn about who Chris is, what is his business, or what is he doing, how successful he is. All this information is needed before we can actually prepare for our pitch. But James doesn't stop there. He says that we should go to our colleagues and research on the internet all the important facts about Chris to make our pitch even more personalized. And this is exactly what we are doing. With the help of our colleague Sarah, we can find 4 different articles online about Chris. And the task is simple. Decide which of these articles are useful, which articles are applicable to the pitch, and maybe we can somehow find some inspiration, some resources to catch the attention of Chris and make him remember our pitch. So let's take a look at some of the articles. So they're all from Financial Times. And the first article says that the fund that Chris is in charge of is getting ready for raising another fund, which is great. We can definitely use this as part of our pitch. Another article that we can see says that there is an investigation into his fund, which obviously gives us a chance to pitch him some work regarding regulatory issues and litigation. So is it enough? And the system says that even though we have not found all correct answers in this task, the guesses that we have made are good. They are definitely a good way to start our conversation with Chris, and yeah, I think it will be more than enough to attract his attention. So let's actually move on to talking to Chris and see what he thinks about our pitch. So whenever we start a conversation with Chris, we would like to see what are the conversational goals. So this is a system which helps us understand how to structure our pitch, what to focus the attention of Chris on, and how do we actually perform this. So we also use this to understand when we need to finish our pitch and finish our conversation. Because yeah, when you're only starting, we have never had any business development experience, you need to rely on something. So let's do that.
So can I help you?
Hi, Chris. My name is Mike. I represent my law firm, and I've read about the new fund that you are organizing. Congratulations on that.
Thanks. And I appreciate the kind words, but right now it's all about execution rather than celebration. What brings you over to chat with me tonight?
Okay, I will not play the whole conversation with Chris, but as you can see by approaching him and focusing his attention on the article we have just read, we achieved our first goal, which is approach him in a commercially aware, non-salesy way. But conversations are mostly for our convenience, to better understand how we go through the simulation. But in order, the deepest feedback actually comes from the analytics system built directly into this communication simulation, which analyzes the transcript and provides us actionable advice on how we can improve our performance and pitch better and achieve better results. So this particular part of the simulation is in this particular part of the simulation, the lawyer is expected to have a couple of iterations before they reach proficiency. And that's why after they read all the feedback, they can try one more time and make sure that they score 90% or 100% on all criteria. But pitching is only part one. We should finish this simulation with actually writing a follow-up email to Chris, which is another skill which junior lawyers need to develop. And this simulation with this email will consist of 3 parts. Then the first one is simple, just draft the subject line and opening paragraph. But nevertheless, I can still ask for advice and help from the system to make sure I know what to focus on here. And yeah, once I read that, I can start writing. I'll do something very simple and I will check it right away. And the checking consists of 2 parts. Part number 1 is the feedback, which says that, okay, the draft has a friendly tone, but it's definitely too generic and doesn't yet reflect the conversation with Chris, which is not good. Moreover, if I want to get even more feedback, I can see the edits provided by AI. So AI fixed my email and showed what can be done better, what is a different way to structure this email, which is very convenient because I want to see a real example of how to do this work correctly. Yeah, so this sums up our first simulation. 4 different parts essential to become much better at business development. Let's move on to the next one, which is an M&A simulation. And here we will focus more on hard skills. Obviously, in an M&A, you still need to be a good negotiator, a good presenter, but we will speak about the hard skills in this simulation. We will focus on the M&A scenario, but the same tools, the same skills can be developed for other practice areas. So yeah, just let's use this as an example. Okay. So we are in a law firm now. And as before, we have different characters. Each of them has a different task for us. And by jumping from one character to another, we will be able to learn something new. So we'll start again with an introductory chart from our mentor. But this chart is a little bit different because as you can see, to the messages by Edward, our mentor, you see a red circle on the left side, which are connected plays from the playbook for this simulation. And this is a very important concept because every simulation has a playbook attached to it, which means that which is used to provide feedback and assess the answers of the students. And this is extremely important because it means that the simulation doesn't go rogue, it doesn't perform the way it wants to. It always relies on a validated source of information that we have provided. And not only AI, also learners can get access to some place from the playbook to get better prepared for the tasks that will follow and that they will face inside this simulation. Very convenient, and it's important for us to make sure that every task, every question in the simulation connects to a certain play from the playbook. Okay, enough with preparation. Let's move on to the task. And the first task is the case study. The case study is a collection of questions and discussions with our mentor that help us better understand a particular legal problem. So here we need to, the partner asked us to analyze a specific indemnity and everything else connected to this point. But let's just focus on the design here, not the actual legal problem. So you see that we start with providing an answer to this question. And the system will, again, analyze our answer and provide feedback on whether we are going in the right direction or not. What is important here is that the system doesn't work like a quiz. It wants for us to have a conversation. That's why it says like, okay, your answer is partially correct, but let's continue our communication. Let's go deeper into this problem. And I'm a bit at a loss, like what is wrong? I need help. So I change from the assessment mode to the reflection mode and ask my mentor a question. What is the 3-question test? And my mentor provides me an answer. And what is interesting here is where does this answer come from? So if I click on the View Source button, which shows me the play from the playbook that this particular question relies on, you can see that there is a very strong resemblance between what our mentor said and what is actually stored in the playbook that this simulation relies on, which allows us to make sure that every interaction with the mentor is validated and relies on the source, not just comes out of nowhere. Okay, now I feel I'm ready. I go back into the assessment mode. I click answer. The system analyzes my all answers, not only the last one, the whole conversation. And now mentor is happy. They think that we have achieved mastery. We found the right answer and we can actually move on. Yeah, this is the case study block. But M&As, obviously, they are not only about problem solving. They are also about working with documents. They are about drafting. And we want to make sure that junior lawyers are also capable to draft real documents. And here, this is a very interesting task because our job is to rewrite one of the clauses. And when we rewrite that, not only we will be what we analyze is the how correct answer is, but if you see there is Emma Shaw counterparty who will react to our redraft. So we will not only see how correct answer is, but how a potential counterparty can react to the wording that we are suggesting. Let's see how it works. So I add my new wording directly into the document, and then I ask the system to analyze my answer and provide information on whether I'm going in the right direction. So it provides me some follow-up. My answer is red, which means that I'm not super correct. But you see, Emma is also preparing her comments. And if I slide down, I see that the liability cap that I'm proposing, she's happy with it. But all the other 3 elements that are important for her in this particular clause, no, she won't accept them because they are missing or for many other reasons. So when I will redraft this particular clause, I can rely on what Emma expects so that we can find common ground, so that I'm not only correct from the legal point of view, but also we find this common space. So just a brief remark, if this gamified experience is too much, we also offer simulations in a more traditional way, when the tasks just go one after another. They are absolutely the same, they rely on the same principles, but maybe for some, this is just more what they're used to. Even though I believe the gamified experience really gives us a chance to tell better stories, engage people, make sure they stay with us, which is extremely important when we want a training program to be successful. Okay, moving on to simulation number 3, and this is a legal tech. And I will not be speaking about how we can use simulations to make someone better at using legal tech tools. No, we'll speak about how we can develop systems thinking, product thinking, design thinking, so that lawyers can take a look at their process, at their work, and understand how AI can redesign them, how tech can be used to make them more efficient, which I think is extremely important. So we find ourselves at an event where we'll go through several stages. So we start with the presentation on how to design workflows.
Thanks for being here. Before we get into anything technical, I want to set the frame for this whole series. We're not here to sell you another AI tool. We're here to change how legal work actually gets structured. By the end of this series, you'll have watched one new workflow, start to finish, get built in front of you, one step at a time. Here's the rule that everything else depends on.
Sorry, it might have been too loud, but you see the point. We sit through the presentation, and then we go into the workshop, where it is our job to design an AI-powered workflow. So we have to design a workflow where we receive an NDA, we analyze it, and decide whether we are happy with this NDA or we want the lawyer to take a look at it. So the idea is simple, but this workflow design allows lawyers to start getting used to this new user interfaces, that they will work a lot in the AI era. This is actually what is happening here. So we have a node for the new contract, then we have a node which is AI powered, which will analyze the NDA, and we can set up a prompt for this. Then there is a decision system which decides if the risk is acceptable, and then there are two ways we can go. We can either approve the NDA we received, or we can decide that the risk score is too big. So let's test our implementation and see how it works. You can paste in a real NDA, but I will just say that this is NDA with a lot of risks, and we'll see how the system works. So the system starts, we launch it, and the system starts to analyze it. We get the output 90, which is a very high risk. We see how the system says that this is an unacceptable risk, and we actually go down, analyze that the risk score is too bad, and we escalate this to lawyer. So the system says that the workflow is correct. If you want, we can analyze the logs for the whole system and see what is missing to understand better what to do with it. But yeah, this is very useful to bring lawyers into an environment where they can experiment and design new workflows, new system, which is exceptionally important if you want someone to become AI native. But not only it's important to design AI solution, it's important to persuade to use them.
I've looked at the workflow summary, and I have a few concerns before I let anything like this touch my matters. Why should I trust an AI to draft something that goes out under my name?
This is a valid question, but could you tell me more about your concerns regarding accountability, confidentiality, and training points?
Look, the core issue is simple. If a red line goes out under my name and it contains an error, the client is going to hold me responsible, not the machine. So I need to understand exactly where the tool stops and where human judgment takes over, and whether you are genuinely keeping confidential information out of any cloud-based training system.
Okay, let me walk you through the whole process.
So as you can see, this is a simulation of a situation where we need to persuade someone to use AI, which I think is a big and important point, because in order to make sure that all the law firm uses AI on different projects, we need to build relationships, be persuasive, learn how to approach different people with different mindsets. And here simulations can also be very useful, because we can first design the workflow and then learn how to persuade others to use these workflows in their day-to-day work, which is, I think, the biggest challenge in terms of AI adoption for law firms. And simulations can be a very efficient tool here. Again, some feedback on how it performed, not good, a lot to improve, but I have an unlimited number of iterations. I can restart many times to make sure I get to the point where my persuasion skills are high enough to change the law firm I'm working at. So again, a couple of different exercises, all connected into a single story. We're using digital visual instruments, storytelling instruments, and of course, simulation instruments. Okay, and moving on to the last one, to the last simulation today, which is a team management simulation. And I think management is such a big topic here, because obviously inside a law firm, you manage juniors, you help them do their work better. But in the near future, we will also need to manage AI agents, legal tech tools. So management will be a big part of any lawyer's work. So it's important for us to develop the skills and to be comfortable and understand what principles to rely on when managing the processes inside our law firm. Let's take a look at this simulation and see how we believe this can be implemented. So we start again inside a law office. We have a couple of tasks, and in here we start with meeting a client. We again have another conversation with them. I will not run this conversation this time. I just want to show you how many different situations we can actually use voice simulations. This is not only for court proceedings, this is not only for negotiations. So voice simulations should be a part of very different scenarios because because it is so important for lawyers to develop their communication skills in different situations. So we learned from Priya what the project is, and after we learned that, we want to design the system, to design how we are going to implement this project. We will use workflow tool once again, but now for a different purpose, because we want to design the system of managing a project. Edward, our mentor, asks us how we're going to do that, and in order to answer his question, we want to use the workflow tool to design it and develop our system of managing a legal project. So here I connect different nodes. I say I will start with scoping, then I will continue into developing the blueprint of the simulation. I will also then I will divide my work into the oversight work and also managing the deadlines work. So yeah, a pretty simple system. But again, our job is not to overwhelm the students here, but to visually show them how they should think about their work. We test the workflow, and yeah, I think this one is correct. And relying on this workflow, I can now describe it to my mentor so that to see if he's happy with what I would like to build. Okay, solid structure. Thank you, Edward. Everyone is happy. And we can now move into our newest task. And I think this is the most interesting one, because now I will show you our new supervision simulation. Let me walk you through this because it can be a bit overwhelming. So what is happening here? We are in charge of a project which has 3 different jobs which need to be implemented in a short period of time. Here in the central column, they are described in more detail what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. In the left column, we have the descriptions of the lawyers that we can give this work to, and they're very different. They have different anxiety levels, different anger levels, different exhaustion levels, and they have different experience. Some of them are trainees, some of them are junior associates, some of them are senior associates, and we should take all this into account when running this supervision project. And in the right column, we have access to them. So we can talk to them, they can ask us questions, we can check in to make sure that they are happy because it's so important with juniors. And let's launch our supervision project. The time started to go, we need to assign the tasks. So I will assign the first task to Lee. And the problem is I didn't actually ask her if she has the skill to perform this project. She says that she can't do that, and she either needs my help or I need to give it to someone else. Okay, I will give it to Daniel, which raises significantly Lee's anxiety levels and anger levels because no one loves when they are taken work away from. Okay, but to make sure that Lee is happier, let's give her another project. Yeah, the second project about project planning, she's okay with it. She starts the work, and we give the last project to Sarah, our senior associates, and they all start completing it. Everything seems to be okay. We have plenty of time. We have distributed the projects. It should be fine. Let's see if it goes this way. We can track that obviously people get tired when completing the work. Daniel is getting tired. Lee is getting tired. Yeah, Sarah has completed her job. This is good. Okay, how is Lee? Oh, we have a message from Daniel. So he is very tired. So we should give him a helping hand. Oh, we also have a question from Lee. And this is an interesting one because she approached us. She has a question, and until we answer this question, she cannot produce her work. And the quality of her work depends very much on the correctness of the answer that we provide. Because if we provide the wrong one, this will steer her in the wrong direction and the project will be a failure. So we need to be very careful here. Yeah, so Lee reads that and she goes on with her project. Okay, we only have 42 minutes left. I'm not sure Lee will be on time, so let's take this project away from her and give it to Sarah. Sarah is a senior associate, she's experienced, she's actually will finish it faster, and yeah, she finished it on time. Daniel is also not coping, so let's take this project away from him and we'll give it to Sarah. Yeah, everything is completed, even though Daniel is pretty anxious, but it happens. The most important thing is that the project is completed or not. Let's see, look at the stats. Even though the deadlines are missed, we have problems with the quality of work and the satisfaction of our team members. Why is that? Let's look at the data. We see that the quality of the second project, project planning, is very low. So if you remember, Lee started it and then she asked us a question and then she ran out of time and we passed this project to Sarah. So something obviously went wrong there and the quality of the project is not that good. Also, let's look at the satisfaction. Obviously, our junior level lawyers are not happy. They were given the work. They were not asked if they are ready. They were taken the work away from. They're anxious. They're dissatisfied. They're exhausted, which is definitely bad. We want to manage our teams better. And we can also take a look at the logs to see what was happening. So every time we took the work from someone, they got more anxious and more angry, which is not good. But there is also an important another thing. Lee asked us a question, and we see that the answer we provided is wrong. And this actually decreased the quality of her work. And as a result, we got this score 48, which is not the level of quality that we expect. So a simple simulation like this, but you see how many different experiences we're trying to build into this. This is just version 1, we're only releasing it right now, but already a lot of things to take into account. Anxiety, anger, exhaustion, quality of advice we provide, previous experience, talking to people and understanding better if they are ready for the work. All these experiences sit in this supervision simulation, and this can become a part of very different simulations on very different topics, depending on what we build. So this was our last simulation for today. This is only the beginning because we only spoke today about the simulations itself, but an interesting topic is also how can we build them. And the quick question is that we're not building them manually. There are AI agents building this for us, but they still need management. They still need quality data. And yeah, once you master the skill, you can do it very quickly, but you are still the architect of your simulations. You cannot just independently let AI agents build them. You need to design them with great caution. And yeah, this is only the beginning, and this is a very important point. It is an important point for one simple reason. Is that as I learned from one of my simulations today, I should be commercially aware and I should not be salesy. So I don't say you should start doing simulations right away, but there is a cost of waiting because simulations will become more complicated. And the earlier you start developing your own simulations, the sooner you will get to the point when you are comfortable, when you understand how to implement this project, how to see the quality, how to analyze the quality. In year 1 or 2, in 2 years, simulations will become the foundation of legal training. And it's good to be aware of how they work by this time and not catch up in 2 years when there is limited time and limited resources. Thank you very much for coming. I hope this was interesting 30 minutes. I'm happy to answer your questions now. I will look if there are any questions in the chat, but in the meantime, feel free to type them in the chat. I will also allow you to ask your questions with voice if you want. And thank you once again for coming.